1. Which of the following is a primary duty of a Rhode Island notary public? A. Certifying the truth of all statements in a document. B. Administering oaths and affirmations. C. Providing legal advice to signers. D. Drafting contracts for private parties. 2. When a Rhode Island notary is asked to notarize a document, the notary must primarily verify A. The accuracy of the document's contents. B. The signer's identity and willingness. C. The notary's commission expiration date. D. The legal enforceability of the document. 3. Which form of identification is acceptable for a notarial act in Rhode Island? A. A valid U.S. passport. B. A handwritten letter of reference. C. A verbal assurance from a friend. D. An unsigned library card. 4. A Rhode Island notary may refuse to notarize a document if A. The signer does not speak English and no interpreter is present. B. The document is written in another language. C. The signer is a family member. D. The document will be used outside of Rhode Island. 5. Which of the following best describes an acknowledgement? A. A sworn statement made under oath. B. A declaration that a signer voluntarily signed a document. C. A certification that a copy of a record is valid. D. A notarial act performed only in court. 6. In Rhode Island, which notarial act requires the signer to take an oath or affirmation? A. Copy certification. B. Jurat. C. Acknowledgement. D. Signature witnessing. 7. When completing a notarial certificate, the notary must always include A. The signer's date of birth. B. The notary's name, signature, and commission expiration date. C. The legal purpose of the document. D. The signer's occupation. 8. A Rhode Island notary's commission is valid for how many years? A. 2. B. 4. C. 5. D. 10. 9. If a notary's commission expires, the notary may A. Continue acting until renewal is filed. B. Perform only acknowledgments. C. Cease all notarial acts immediately. D. Notarize documents for family only. 10. When is it acceptable for a Rhode Island notary to notarize their own signature? A. If the document is a personal affidavit. B. If no other notary is available. C. Never. D. If it is approved by the Secretary of State. 11. Which of the following is considered an improper notarial practice? A. Keeping a record of all acts performed. B. Charging more than the maximum legal fee. C. Verifying the identity of each signer. D. Using a notary seal on each act. 12. A notary who knowingly notarizes a forged signature in Rhode Island may face A. A small administrative fine only. B. Revocation of commission and criminal penalties. C. No penalties if acting in good faith. D. Only civil liability. 13. What is the maximum fee a Rhode Island notary can charge for a standard notarial act? A. $5. B. $10. C. $25. D. No set statutory limit. 14. Which principle should guide a Rhode Island notary when handling every notarial act? Impartiality. B. Expediency. C. Profit maximization. D. Advocacy. 15. If a notary is asked to notarize a document where the signer is visually impaired, the notary must A. Read the document aloud or ensure it is read aloud. E. Refuse the act. C. Ask the signer's family to confirm understanding. D. Sign the document on behalf of the signer. 16. A jurat requires the notary to A. Confirm the signer's identity only. E. Witness the signer make an oath or affirmation. C. Verify the accuracy of the document's content. D. Ensure the document is legally binding. 17. A Rhode Island notary must record what in the notarial certificate? A. The type of notarial act performed. B. The signer's place of employment. C. The signer's family details. D. The monetary value of the transaction. 18. Which of the following scenarios would make a notarization invalid in Rhode Island? A. The signer appeared in person and presented valid ID. B. The notary relied solely on a phone call to identify the signer. C. The notary attached a correct certificate. D. The notary used a proper seal. 19. When administering an oath, the Rhode Island notary should ask the signer to A. Swear or affirm the truthfulness of the statement. B. Confirm the document's legality. C. Declare the financial value of the document. D. Sign a separate acknowledgement form. 20. Which of the following is the best way for a Rhode Island notary to handle a conflict of interest? A. Disclose but still notarize. E. Refuse to notarize the document. C. Charge a higher fee. D. Delegate to another employee. 21. A notary public in Rhode Island may certify a copy of A. Vital records such as birth certificates. E. Public records maintained by another office. C. A signer's original diploma. D. A copy of a U.S. passport. 22. A Rhode Island notary's official seal must contain the state's motto and the notary's home address. B. The notary's name, words Notary Public, and Rhode Island. C. The signer's initials and commission number. D. The county where the notary resides. 23. Which of the following is an essential requirement before notarizing any document? A. Determining the signer's understanding of the document. B. Verifying the signer's identity through satisfactory evidence. C. Reviewing the document for legal sufficiency. D. Witnessing the drafting of the document. 24. Which of these would constitute unauthorized practice of law by a Rhode Island notary? A. Explaining the difference between a jurat and acknowledgement. E. Advising a client on which legal form to use. C. Informing a signer of identification requirements. D. Administering an oath for an affidavit. 25. If a Rhode Island notary changes their legal name, they must A. Immediately resign their commission. B. Continue using their old name. C. Notify the Secretary of State for an updated commission. D. Apply for a new notary exam. 26. Notaries in Rhode Island are appointed by A. The state legislation. B. The governor with the advice and consent of the Senate. C. The state Supreme Court. D. The Attorney General's office. 27. A notary's journal entry should include A. The signer's SSN. B. The date, type of act, and signer's identity evidence. C. The notary's salary. D. The signer's religious affiliation. 28. When is it permissible for a Rhode Island notary to notarize a blank document? A. If the signer insists. B. If the notary intends to fill it in later. C. Never. D. If the notary attaches an acknowledgement form. 29. Which best describes personal knowledge of a signer? A. Recognition based on prior interaction and familiarity. B. Information provided by a third party. C. A photograph shown by the signer. D. A notarized letter from another notary. 30. If a signer refuses to take an oath during a jurat, the notary must A. Convert it to an acknowledgement. B. Proceed with the notarization. C. Refuse to notarize. D. Record the refusal and notarize anyway. 31. In Rhode Island, a notary's authority extends A. Only to documents intended for use in Rhode Island. B. To any lawful notarial act within the state's boundaries. C. To documents related to federal government only. D. Outside the U.S. with approval. 32. What is the penalty for a notary who charges more than the legal maximum fee? A. Commission, suspension, or revocation. B. No penalty if the signer consents. C. A simple warning letter. D. Only civil liability with no state action. 33. When notarizing, the Rhode Island notary must always act with FAR. A. Neutrality. B. Advocacy. C. Expediency. D. Preference for repeat clients. 34. Which of the following is prohibited for a Rhode Island notary? A. Administering an oath. B. Witnessing a will execution as a notary. C. Acting as both a witness and notary on the same will. D. Verifying identity of a signer. 35. The Secretary of State may deny a notary commission if the applicant A. Has outstanding parking tickets. B. Lacks sufficient moral character. C. Has less than a college degree. D. Works in private business.